Welcome to the first real episode of Introduction to Mixed Reality Development. I'm Jonas, an XR developer for Inholland Composites here in Delft, and today we will go over the basic terminology of mixed reality and talk about the rough scheduling of this video series. So here we go. What is mixed reality? Well, to explain what it is or what it stands for really, let's take a look at the reality-virtuality continuum. This defines the correlation between the real/physical world, the virtual world, and everything in between. On one side we have our reality, or physical reality, so everything around us, physical objects, noises, warmth, etc. And on the other side we have the virtuality, where everything is artificial. Now, for a long time, the boundaries between both realities were fixed. We could display digital information on screens and monitors, but that was about it. However, with technological progression, we were able to increasingly bridge, and later on merge, these two realities. The level of bridging between both is defined as immersion, ranging from no immersion, in our real world, to full immersion in the virtual world. Everything in between is defined as mixed reality. Now let's have a look at a couple of examples for the different stages of immersion to make some sense out of all of this. This is a 3D printed model of the Dragonfly airplane, which is currently worked on here in the laboratory. It is physically standing on its mount in the physical world, our laboratory. Nothing artificial is to be seen here. Everything is purely physical. So it is in the absolute reality. Now we have the model projected in the laboratory. We have a situation where our experience is more immersive than before. We altered our perception and enhanced it with artificial or holographic content. This is known as augmented reality. Next up, we can do the opposite and place a real object in a virtual environment. As a result, our experience is closer to the virtual world than to the physical one. Unfortunately, we do not have any example made by ourselves for this. Typically, this is used to present and/or promote VR experiences, like you can see right now. Here we have a gamer playing a game called Beat Saber. Out of the top of my head, I cannot recall any existing industrial use case. No, not really. Anyhow, the virtual world is altered or enhanced with real content here. And this is known as augmented virtuality. And finally, we have a completely artificial world and an artificial model of the dragonfly in front of us. None of the physical world can still be observed, and we achieved true virtual reality. Or did we? Well, a small side note here. These examples only concern the visual perception of an individual, and perhaps sound. However, technically, the virtuality continuum covers all senses that we have. However, vision and sound are our primary ones and are usually referred to in this context. So, you will never achieve a true virtual experience where everything is artificial. Hence, what we know as virtual reality is very close to it, but is technically not virtual reality yet. Maybe at some point in the future it will be. So now we discussed what mixed reality actually stands for. Let's have a look at devices we can use to create immersive experiences and place them in the virtuality continuum based on their immersion factor. Having no device at hand, we have our default situation now completely in the physical world. A step upwards are monitors and projectors. These allow us to have like a static window into the virtual world and augment our perception just a tiny bit. Hence, our experience cannot be described as completely real anymore. This is sometimes referred to as spatial augmentation. If we now think of phones and tablets, we have a similar situation with a window into the virtual world. However, we are not static anymore and can use overlays of video feeds from the inbuilt cameras to augment the space around us. This allows us to walk around the virtual content being displayed dynamically. However, human inputs are still bound to be given by tapping on the screen or some kind of user interface. To increase the immersion further, we can use optical see-through head-mounted devices, such as a HoloLens. The concept remains similar, however, we do no longer have to utilize the webcams anymore for the background. Well, hence why they are called see-through. In addition, we can interact with holograms directly with our hands. We will discuss the HoloLens further in the next episode, by the way. But this is the experience we will be working on within our video series. Well, anyhow, let's discuss the typical VR headset. The perception of a user is now completely artificial. It's all done using screens. Hence, we can place this technology closely to the virtual world. Please note, once again, it should not be placed directly at the far right of the spectrum. We only cover two senses at the moment, vision and hearing. All the other senses are not altered. Therefore, we can only place VR headsets closely to the end of the spectrum. These VR headsets, for example an Oculus Quest or an HTC Vive, can also be used for augmented virtual reality. This requires the use of a camera again, and usually a green screen to improve the quality of the augmentation. If we use these tools correctly, we can forward the camera feed of specific objects and overlay the content of interest into the virtual world. So this is it for the basic terminology. Now that you know the differences between all these concepts, let's quickly go over the rough schedule of this video series. First, we started with the terminology to get the purely theoretical stuff out of the way. And now that we have this done, in the next episode we will discuss the Microsoft HoloLens more in detail and proceed with installing the software packages needed for development. Then, with the setup ready to go, we will dive into Unity and create a first small application. Not only will we discuss the technical workflow here, but also some basic considerations for any AR development. I like to call them the 3 W's. So what, why, where, but more about that later on. And yeah, having our first small application done to check out if our workflow works and if our installations are all proper. And with that said, we can finally start with our first proper development for our example application. In particular, we will focus on the placement of the AR content in real environments in the first episode. And lastly, we will work on some mechanics in our application, introducing logic to our app and making it interactive and giving it a purpose. And yeah, with that said, this is the end of this episode. Hopefully it was all clear. If not, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for your time and till the next one.